Okay. Alrighty. Um, so how have you been since the last time we spoke?
Um, Honestly, I've still kind of been about the same. I've been like thinking about things a lot more. But as far as actually being able to really make a change in the step of getting over everything and moving on, I'm still kind of at the same place.
Okay, so things have been about the same, but you have been kind of thinking about this process a little bit more.
Exactly. Definitely contemplating everything a little bit more. And even though I'm not sure of what to do, I'm like trying to just wrap my head around what I have to do, and just looking honestly forward more to seeing you and really trying to figure everything out.
And essentially that's the first step is just realizing, I want to change and even though I don't really know how, like I want to take the steps to like figuring that out. So
Mm-hmm.
that's really
Definitely.
great that you recognize that, and I really appreciate you saying that. So, really, the purpose of today's session is to go over the documents that I sent you and just kind of go into more into detail about your cancer, so we can, of course, move forward in developing a more solidified treatment process for you while we were working together. So I noticed that you had some you had like consistency in your answers, which is really great. I feel like sometimes um, some people are not really aware of their feelings and they just don't know, and everything is just kind of like undecided, undecided, undecided. And for most of your questions, you actually answered like agree and disagree. Like you were very stern with like where you stood in your answers, which is really great. Um, so I feel like realizing that you're sure of how you feel and you're able to express it. Would you say that that is like how you felt when you were completing the form? Like you're sure of how you feel.
Honestly, I didn't even really realize that. Um, it was just kind of like how I felt. Like it just was how I felt. That was the answer that I felt. I didn't even recognize that like the way you did, but that makes sense.
Yeah, I think it's really great when people are able to express how they feel. A lot of people are uncomfortable with it, or they're just not able to express it. They're just not they don't really have like the emotional intelligence to be able to express their feelings. So I think the fact that you're confident in your answers is really great. There are a few, basically the ones I wanted to touch base with you is like the ones that you did leave as like undecided. Um, just so I can get a little bit more insight as to why you feel unsure. Um, so the first one said, I'm not the problem. It doesn't make much sense for me to consider changing. Um, so, in your situation that we've been discussing for the past couple sessions, I just wanted to um, understand like, where your feelings are with that, like, why you feel unsure.
Um, I'm sorry, what was the question again? The answer again?
So you put undecided, and the question is, I'm not the problem. It doesn't make sense for me to consider changing.
Okay. Honestly, I just felt that way, I think mostly because it's not, I didn't have a problem with what I'm having a problem with now before the accident. So I feel like it's more tied to what happened rather than me actually physically, emotionally, mentally changing myself. It was more the events that happened. But as far as like having a problem, I definitely do recognize that there is a problem, but I wouldn't tie it to me as an individual and the choices I've made, but more so what happened, um, from what I see and feel.
So, like, do you just feel that it's more so just the scenario and like the circumstances that you're currently in is more so what the problem is, and like not anything that's really like kind of trickled into how you're feeling right now?
Yeah, because I didn't feel this way until the accident happens. So I would mostly tie what's wrong now to what happens more so than me changing or making choices purposefully, intentfully to get to where I'm feeling now. It was mostly just because of what happened. Um, so I wouldn't say it's like me as an individual, but more so what I went through that I'm trying to kind of get a grasp on.
Mm-hmm. Right, and that definitely makes sense. And like, what happened to you is very traumatic, and it's trauma is more of an experience that takes a lot of time to be able to overcome, and it's not something that you can just like snap your fingers and change, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that you're like aware of that is really awesome. That you know, like, you know, this situation is why I'm feeling this way. Like, this is not who I am. It's just what happened to me is kind of making me feel this way. But like, you want to move forward and you want to feel better. Okay, that makes sense. And then the third question said, I am really working hard to change. So can you kind of just describe to me what you're working hard, like what exactly are you working on to change?
Um, was that something I marked undecided for?
Yes.
Um, so how I'd say I am working towards it is like actually coming out and trying to get help from a professional rather than just dealing with it on my own.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but as far as any more so outside of that, I'm not really doing anything other than trying to talk to somebody. So I'm trying, but I'm not trying in all of the different arenas of my life that I should be. I'm more just kind of trying the professional world right now and then just going home and trying to deal with it personally. Um, so I'm trying, but I'm like not trying that hard, kind of, is how I felt about that.
Okay. And like I said, like when we first started the session today, like the fact that you are taking the first step in coming to receive help is huge. Like, there's so many people who are not aware that they need help, and they feel like they can do everything on their own, and we're human, you know. We do need help along the way sometimes when we're going through a hard time, of course. And I just think that the fact that you've realized that, and like I said, it's like little things may not seem a big deal, but that really is like a milestone in the process of really feeling better and just even being better than where you were before. So I just wanted you to know that, you know, even though it might seem as something so like minimal, it really is a big deal. But and you know, a lot of the a lot of change comes with baby steps, and it might not seem something so big in the process, but like looking back, you'll definitely see, okay, well, I was like little things, they do add up. And I'm really hoping that you do see that in the end of all of this.
Thank you.
Okay. Um, I'm just looking at this 1 second, please. Sorry about that.
Of course.
Okay. So, one question here that I also saw was, anyone can talk about changing. I'm actually doing something about it. So you rank that as a 4, which is agree. So again, that's something that you were pretty sure about. So how, besides coming here and starting this process with me, how are you doing something about changing your situation, or just how you feel about your situation?
Sure. Um, I think overall I'm just getting more comfortable with the idea of opening up about it and like recognizing that it's okay to need help to get through something like this, and it's not something that has to be done on my own. Um, like before this, I wasn't really the kind of person to really ever consider therapy. But now I'm just more comfortable with the idea that sometimes there's some situations where you need you need somebody else, you need help, and so um, that's why I put agree.
Okay, awesome. So just becoming more comfortable with realizing that you do need help, and just even just being comfortable about talking about how you feel, because what you've been through is very sad, very traumatic, very heartfelt. So it is a very sensitive topic. So that's really great that you are aware of that, and you should really be proud of yourself, because like I said, a lot of people struggle with that. So the fact that you are aware of it and you're doing something about it is really awesome. And then here you also stated, I wish I had more ideas on how to solve my problem. And you said strongly agree for that. In what sense would you like to have more ideas on how to solve your problem? As in your problem of overcoming this situation, the anxiety of, I know you have anxiety about like traveling and things like that, or just being in cars in general. So I guess just like, in what sense do you want to have more ideas on how to feel better about that?
Um, I guess I would just have to say more so that like because this is something new that I never been through before and never thought I would go through before, I just don't really have like any knowledge on how to even come up with a solution to feel better because I just don't feel like I don't feel like myself anymore. Um, as far as just like my joy for life. So I think it's really important for me to try and find solutions, which I just don't have any because I don't even really know where to start with trying to find even like how to help myself overcome anything. And like, I really do think that's tied into why I've been drinking a lot more, and it's not something that I want to be doing. It's something I've been using as a solution, and so I know that I need to find other ways to get around this than numbing my feelings.
Right, so just figuring out more ways to cope with the anxiety that you've been and the distress you've been feeling throughout this time.
Yes.
Right. Awesome. Okay, so within this self-efficacy form that you filled out, I'm only going to go over a few of these with you. Mm-hmm. So thank you for hanging there. Mm-hmm. So, same thing with this. You answered pretty, it was like one or the other. So it was a lot of moderately and a lot of hardly. So there wasn't really much in between. So that's something I also wanted to acknowledge, that, again, your answers were really like one or the other. You're very confident and knowing how you feel about things, which I think is really awesome. So the fourth question says, I'm confident that I could deal effectively with unexpected events. So you stated hardly. And I, of course, wanted to ask, do you feel that it's because of the accident? Like, you're not able to, like, this is a traumatic event that happened and you're not able to deal with it, like, emotionally effectively?
I'm sorry, what was the response again, or the question again that I marked hardly true?
So the question was, I'm confident that I could deal, I've been saying effectively this whole time, I'm sorry, efficiently, with unexpected events, and you put it hardly true.
Okay. Yeah, I definitely felt that way because it's clear that I'm not able to handle unexpected events because that's kind of exactly what brought me here. Um,
Hmm.
so I'm not even really. It kind of just made me feel like I'm not well prepared to deal with something that I'm not expecting. So that's why I put that one.
Okay. And I think that like these forms really just kind of put a stamp of like, um, this is why I'm here, and this is like the point. So that's really why we're talking about it, to really solidify, what we're going to focus on moving forward. And I think the fact that you are pretty aware of, you want to work on being able to cope with the things that you're feeling, and like I said, your answers were very helpful in being able to realize that you already know like what your problem is and how you're feeling. So that's awesome. So kind of just to tie this all up, I just want to talk about some short-term and long-term goals of what you would like to receive from the process moving forward. Um, to not receive, build. I'm sorry, to build with this process moving forward. So just to touch up on that, what would you say is a short-term goal for you?
Short term, probably just trying to get myself out there again a little bit more, not isolating myself so much, and just basically being more open and accepting um, that what I'm feeling is normal, and just trying to not let it take over my life as much as it has been. Um, so just being more open about it, like particularly with my family, because I know that they care a lot about me and they want to hear about it. Um, and they want me to talk with them, whether it's about the accident or not. They just want to be there for me. So I guess just kind of letting my family back in a little bit more is important to
Right?
me.
Just not being so closed off, especially with your family, and especially about the accident that happened.
Yeah.
Okay, really great
Um,
goal. And then what about long term?
um, Long term, I just want to learn how to live with what happens, but still be able to not forget about it. Like I don't just want to forget about it. It's like that was my best friend, but I want to be able to live my life, um, not let it hold me back, and get back to who I was before without just forgetting about it. I still want to remember them forever and honor them and stuff, but I also just want to be able to move forward with my life too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So just feel as if this is a part of who I am, but it's not who I am. Like the situation
Mm-hmm.
did not. Um, it's a part of like the pieces in your process and your journey, and you want to honor your friend along the way because obviously you love them and they meant something huge to you, and just you want to hold that within your life moving forward. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, that's exactly.
Okay. Well, awesome. I'm really, really happy that you were able to express and describe more about what you meant from these forms. And I really do feel like you are really on the right track here. I feel like you're aware, and you do want some genuine change out of this process. So I really do respect that, and I'm happy and um, excited to see where you'll be moving forward. So I hope that you hang in there for the rest of the week, and thank you again for talking with me. So I'll see you soon.
Awesome. See you soon. Thank you. Bye.